Good evening, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. In today's session, we will be exploring arts integration in social studies with Mrs. Archana Golcha. Mrs. Golcha has been associated in the field of education for over 2 decades. She's a gold medalist in mass communication and has worked both with print and electronic media. She's a huge advocate of inclusive education as she's a special educator herself. As a teacher, she has twice bagged award for the best teacher at the prestigious Jain International School, Nagpur. Mrs. Golcha has been teaching English and social studies in secondary classes. She has been a resource person for CBSE training programs and is a master trainer herself. She has been an observer appointed by CBSE for JEE NEET examinations across the country. We welcome you, dear ma'am, and request you to take the session forward.
Thank you so much, Nidhi ma'am, and thank you so much, Collins Learning. It's wonderful to be back with Collins Learning, and I think today's topic is one of the best that I have come across because there is so much to learn, so much to explore, so much to share, and the takeaways are going to be so many that I'm sure today teachers are going to be excited. So before wasting a minute, let's start with today's webinar. This is in continuation. This is a series which has been started by Collins Learning. We've had the first one, which was on 19th. It was on art integrated learning from theory to practice. And this is the second one. This concentrates on social studies. And I think I'll be able to do justice to it. So before wasting a second, let's move on. A wonderful welcome to my audience. And I really hope that I will be able to engage you and I will share with you the best ideas so that, you're all excited. And all the questions that you have in mind, that how is it possible to integrate so you get your answers. Let me first talk about the topic here. The topic is exploring arts integration in social studies. There are three important keywords here which needs to be understood, and then we will go to the next one. The first one talks about exploring. Exploring meaning searching for a new path, finding answers to something which we are not too good at, something which has not been ventured since long, or maybe it has not been, we have not looked into it or not paid attention to it. And thanks to the new national education policy, it has now given it to us, and we have to find how we can make this possible. The next important word after exploring is arts. Now, my dear friends, we all, or I should say most of us, think that arts means a thing which is done by an artist. So how can we integrate art with social science when it is a concern of an artist? We say that art means a person who's going into an art gallery, who's drawing or who's painting or who's showing an exhibition. Now, how can we have art of that kind into social science? But today we will all make it possible, and we will discuss what are the various forms and mediums of arts. And the third key word here is integration. Integration means merging, getting together, combining, coming on a common platform. So we have to come on a common platform, that is arts, with another subject. Today, of course, it is social studies, but we can integrate art. Believe me, we can integrate art into each and every subject because art is a part of our life. Yes, I'm going to capture my audience today with an inspiring story about a king who had an eye and, but is one eye and one leg. So if my audience is ready, can I start the story? It's just a 2-minute story. Okay. Yes. There was once one king somewhere in Scotland, many centuries back, and The poor rich king, poor I'm saying because he was deprived of his one eye and one leg, and rich because he was a king. So the poor rich king was deprived of one eye and one leg, and he used to remain pretty depressed. And he did not like to meet many people. He did not want to venture into the various activities of the court. He used to stay very secluded. One day he thought, he used to be mostly on the wheelchair. One day he thought that I'll go and visit that part of the palace, which I have not visited it since long, where there are portraits of my ancestors. So let me see, let me try to get back into the history of it. So his wheelchair was wheeled to that courtroom, and into that gallery, he saw the various portraits of his ancestors, and looking at them, he was so touched. And he said, oh, this is how we have been brought up, and this is where I am today, and very soon my children also will be here. But then he grew very sad. He said, I will not put my portrait over here, because if I do that, I will be a laughing stock. Because he considered himself ugly. He said, I am not good looking. I am disabled. That is what he called himself, which is a very wrong word. So I will not put my portrait here. Then he thought more about it, and he came to the conclusion that if an artist, if a painter, if a person who can paint me and in such a way that I don't look ugly, then I can think about putting my portrait there in the gallery. So he announced, and there were a number of painters who thought that they will venture into this adventure. But he also said that if you will be able to do the task, you will be heavily, handsomely rewarded. If not, then you will be beheaded. So the enthusiasm of the artists declined, and this king was again very depressed. But there was one painter who said, I'll take charge and I'll do it. And what did he do? He created a masterpiece. He created this kind of painting where everybody, including the king, was spellbound. And you know what was there in the painting? In the painting was the king seated on a horse. He was on the way for hunting, and the good side of his body, that is the leg, and the good side of his eye was visible in the painting, whereas the other eye was closed as if he's, using the bow and arrow. And looking at that, the king was in an awesome mood, and he heavily rewarded the painter. And this is how an artist was able to change the life of himself, of the king, and maybe the king's children also. So this is the power, this is the inspiration that we can gather from the story here. So I hope my friends liked the story, and it was a good icebreaker, a good kickstart to today's webinar. Okay, now, of course, we are venturing art integration because it has been announced by the National Education Policy 2020. It is a part of the experiential learning, art integration, and sports integration. Remember, sports is also a part of art. So when we are talking about experiential learning, art integration is a part of experiential learning. So since this National Education Policy has been gifted to us, we have to make the best of it. We have to, in this time of pandemic, we have to get together so that we can get better and more ideas, so that we are able to understand how this art integration can actually happen. Because this new pedagogical approach is very, very important. What CBSE hopes to achieve with art integrated learning. Now, CBSE has given us new guidelines. It says that art integrated learning is necessary, and there are possibilities, and they have given manuals to us. I hope most of my participants have gone through the manuals. If it is heavy, go chapter wise. There are lots of activities in that, and it will make your teaching very, very interesting. So let's go to the points quickly. So what CBSE hopes to achieve with art integrated learning? It enables students to derive meaning and understanding directly from the learning experience. So when we are teaching them, we don't have to teach from the book. Rote learning can be kept one side. We can give them hands-on experiences, and through that they will learn, because when they will learn through hands-on experiences, it will be faster, quicker, maybe for a lifetime. Encourage critical thinking and deeper understanding of concepts. Now, when we tell children something we have read from the book or shown them a video, it's pretty obvious that children may not pay attention, or they may forget in couple of hours or couple of days. But when we do it through an art activity, we do it through a demonstration, we do it through some stimulus, 99% chances are that children will not only be interested, they will not forget the concepts. Make the teaching and learning process joyful. Children who can't at times be very receptive, they are not able to respond, they are not able to, there are some cultural differences, some language problems. Due to all these kind of things, sometimes children are not able to pick up what you're teaching them in the class, even if you're showing them the audio visual aids. But if you make them perform, maybe you take them in the physical education class, or you introduce some model making, or you introduce role play, with these kind of things, it becomes very joyful, very playful. So it's called as delightful learning. Help broaden the minds of students and enables them to see multidisciplinary tasks between, that is the links between the subjects, topics and life. Now, when I say arts, arts is an integral part of our life. Now, we may get up in the morning and we may watch the sunrise. Another person watching the sunrise could be a painter. He may want to use it on the canvas. Another person will enjoy the sunrise as a poetry. Another one may say, I will introduce a new form of dance in this form of sunrise. Another one, maybe a motivational or life skill coach, will write a first chapter of the book on it. So there's an artist in each one of us. All we need to do is explore. And once we explore, we will help the students also to explore through experiential learning and through art integration. Develop communication, reflective and inquiry skills. Children will not ask questions if you are continuously one-sided teaching in the class. But if you make them perform, you make them move, you make them run, you make them involve into action, then there is a reflection at the end of it, and you can also ask them to make groups or ask questions. In this way, they get collected together. Boost confidence, self-esteem and appreciation for aesthetic and creativity. We all know that art is very aesthetic and creative, so it helps children to boost confidence. Now, art integration is very cool. Why it is very cool? Because it's an approach. So now we're coming to another key word here, approach. Approach means it's a dimension. It's an approach to teaching in which students construct and demonstrate understanding through an art form. Now, we will speak about the various art forms. When we introduce that art form, children are able to respond, children are able to construct and demonstrate through it. Students engage in a creative process which connects an art form and another subject. So here we're talking about integration of art, maybe with maths, maybe with science, maybe with social science, maybe with a language. So there is a connectivity, and the teacher helps the students to connect between arts and another subject. Those come together for creative something. So the key word here which we need to understand is creation, and that is, we need to engage students. Yes, why do we integrate art with curriculum? This is my question. I take a pause and I want my intelligent and enthusiastic audience to come up with answers. Why should we integrate art with curriculum? Here I'm not talking about social studies in particular. I'm talking about the curriculum in general. Why should we integrate?
We're looking for answers. Both on Facebook as well as on Zoom. And the question to all the teachers is up there. So you can choose to one.
Please be loud.
Yeah, so you can choose to teachers. Okay, ma'am, the first answer is to make it more interesting. That's
Right?
from Ms. Shilpi Ratan. Then Ms. Manimala Teneti says, for the active involvement of students. Ms.
On
Alka
content.
says, to make the topic easy to understand.
Mhm.
And the next answer is to make the concept more understandable.
Okay.
A holistic development of the child gives a different dimension to learning of social studies. And to bind the interest of the students,
Wonderful.
involvement is key for the students, and therefore this allows involvement. Uh, yeah, so a lot of answers.
I'm happy here that the most important thing which I have collected is that we need to make the subject easy. So in order to make it easy, we need to pick up this, or this. Or maybe a combination. We can use even combination of arts. So the main point is that children shouldn't be bored, and we are very fortunate, really very fortunate that social studies is one subject. Social studies and science. I can 100% be very sure that these two subject teachers are the luckiest because art integration is very easy, very convenient. All you need to do is be unique, think in a unique way, and you'll get lots and lots of things to do. Okay, now the questions, answers which teachers had given. Let me come back to what it says here. Teachers like art integration because it is hands-on, enables children to be creative, works with technology. Yes, now because children are more techno-savvy, so it works with technology. Lots of things on the technology front can happen to be creative. Help students with the extreme self-expression, and it boosts children's self-esteem as well. So these are the answers which I was looking for. I got some additional answers. So teachers, this is also what we have with us, that why should teachers want to integrate arts? Now we are on the platform that what is arts education? When we say arts, what are we including? What are the things that we are able to include in the arts? Sometimes there's a question, is this arts? Somebody asked me today when I was, telling them, I was discussing with them that I'm doing a presentation today. They asked me, how come you are saying that physical education is part of um, this integration? I said, everything is possible. So let's look into it. It's dance. Under dance, it is movement, genres of choreography, sometimes even physical education. So these are all movement, these are all action based. The next is music. Music could be a band, it could be that is instrumental, chorus, orchestra, sound mixing. So children who are gifted with music and instruments and who have the sense of sound mixing, they can do a lot when it comes to social studies. I'll go slowly, so don't be in a hurry that how can music help, how can dance help. We'll come to it one by one. Theater, children love role play, children love Nukkad Natak, children love surprise role plays also in the class. So playwriting, acting, public speaking, this is also part of art education. So there can be somebody who can write the script, there can be another group who could be acting, and another group which could be presenting. So lots of things can come into theater, and theater gives lots of confidence to students who otherwise may not speak in class, but they will find a voice here when it comes to theater. Visual arts, studio arts, media arts, and digital arts. Now, visual arts, again, it could be in a very compact, in a well, I should say, structured digital. We're now talking about artificial intelligence. All these kind of things will help us in art education. So what I have listed here are only few. Can somebody else, I mean, if I have missed out something, can anybody else add to what has been missed out in the arts education other than dance, music, theater, visual arts?
Poetry.
Poetry will come under scripting.
Okay,
Okay.
so Looking
What
for
about
more
puppetry?
answers.
What about sculpture?
Craft. I think that's clay modeling, drawings. So these are various answers that I'm seeing.
Okay.
Theater,
Theater.
culinary art. Wow, yeah, culinary.
Yes, yes, culinary art, yes.
Puppetry, expression of ideas, audio, drawing and painting, games,
Games are
culinary,
part of physical education.
yes, fine art. Lots of answers on Facebook. Yes,
Wonderful, wonderful. I like that culinary art, and we'll
yes,
discuss about it in about
and also Rangoli.
Rangoli. So in about 20 minutes, we'll come to culinary art.
Yes,
Art integration encourages differentiated instruction. So when you have a class of say 35, 40 students in a class, each child, I'm not saying needs special attention. I'm saying each child is different, hence needs a different approach. Some may be coming from a different cultural background. Some may have a different need, maybe needs more of coaxing, needs more of aids, needs more of audio-visually kinesthetic kind of, inputs. There could be some who have come from another state to study, so they have language issues. So when children have language problem, or they're not able to express, or they're not very confident in speaking, or are shy, reserved, these children can be involved into arts integration. So they can prove their point, if not through the learning, they can express through the demonstration. We also have different situations in which there are children who have, who find it difficult to integrate. We have children who have coming from different cultural backgrounds. So these various backgrounds, we have to deal with these children. And when we have to deal with these children, what is that one weapon in our hand? That one weapon in our hand is arts integration. So all these variety of children have to be put under one platform, but at times dealt in groups, at times dealt as pairs, as individuals, because then we can understand that these two are similar kind. So in this similar kind, one can be extra smart, who can speak very well, the other one who can construct very well. They can form one group and they can learn from each other. I love this topic that is called amazing facts. Whenever I do a webinar, or I come across something where I have to share with my friends, students, I like to put the amazing facts, because when it comes to amazing fact, it's something which nobody knows. And then it is really surprising. So here is one. Did anybody know that between 1912 and 1948, arts was a part of Olympics? And that the awards or the medals were awarded through architecture, music, painting, sculpture, literature. So that is the importance that was given, that is the stage and platform that was given to the Olympics. And I'm sad that why has it stopped? After 1948, it should have still continued, but that prestige has been given to arts. And here is Mr. Picasso, that is Pablo Picasso, the Spanish painter. The first word that he spoke was pencil in his language. He said the Spanish word for pencil. Even before he could speak, he could draw. Even before he could walk, he could draw. So these are the people who are gifted people. And we have to take encouragement. And there's a picture here which talks about art therapy. Now, art therapy is a different field altogether. Today, we have motivational coaches who are speaking about art therapy, how people can be calm, composed, especially in the time of pandemic, through art. Even meditation is an art. Even getting up in the morning, taking in deep breathing and releasing out the negativity is art therapy. So art therapy, these are all the amazing facts which I wanted to share with you, and I'm excited about it. Student art making, what can art do for the students? It develops language and vocabulary, develops problem solving strategies. You throw them into a situation and just sit and watch and observe and see how they will find solution to things. Enhances social skills, yes, very much, because they get together to do. Enhances the artistic and creative development. develops motor control because you're using your mind, you're using your feet at times, you're using your fingers, your hands, your arms, your muscles. So it's a collaboration of your thoughts process and your motor skills. It develops aesthetic awareness and appreciation of the arts. So in the end, when children create what you have told them, explained them to be what has to be created, when they see the end product, they go hysterical because they could not have believed that they can do it. Whether it's a model, whether it's a painting of a wall, you can give them a wall, you can give them columns in the school, you can use each and every part of the school, which can be all radiant and vibrant through art. Why should you integrate art into your social studies? Now, from the curriculum of other subjects, we are coming to social studies. Why social studies? What is there in arts that can help us in social studies? So, like we discussed before, some students cannot express everything they learn in written form or in speaking. So, when we provide them the opportunity to show their understanding through art, they have yet another way to show what they have learned. Now, any of my friend who has experienced this either in the online or in the offline class, where child was not able to understand what you were expressing, and then you change the strategy and you told them, okay, now let us do this. Now leave your books, stand up, get together, bring this, see whatever resources are available, and then let's do this. Did anybody try it? Even if it was a physical activity, suppose they are bored, it's after lunch, if it's a day boarding, it's after lunch, and then they're bored and you have social studies class, just tell them to get up, take 2 steps left, take 2 steps right, take two steps front, pull your cheek. Children of 10th standard enjoy this kind of activity, which I have tried. So anybody who has tried would like to share here?
Yeah, so to all the teachers on Zoom, whosoever would like to share these experiences, please show up your hand and we can unmute you. Or in case there is a teacher who's willing to type, please do type and we can always read it out too. Yes, so we have Shilpi ma'am. Ma'am, I'm just unmuting you. Please do unmute yourself and
Hello.
Yes, I can unmute. Thanks. So I have tried this with the class 5 students, wherein we were talking about different movements. It was last year, I mean, and like especially about civil disobedience movement and all that, where or you can say that non-cooperation movement, all that. So we made a group through breakout rooms, and therein we tried this. We have given them a role play sort of activity wherein they just have to dress up like that. So somebody in that civil disobedience movement, somebody dressed up as Gandhiji, and others were, the followers. And I mean, a simple little dandi march sort of, although the scenario would have been different if I would have tried it in my actual class. So they would have actually enjoyed it. But online also they dressed up like that, and I mean, they march. I mean, they pretended to march, though not much, and they really liked it, and they understood what it is, because at times these words become very heavy and they could not relate to it, that what are these and what we are studying. But when you inculcate role play to it, so the things become more interesting for them, and they can actually comprehend, and they can understand what they are learning, instead of just mugging it up. They can learn. I mean, that yes, what we have done.
Totally agree with you that the moment you tell them to do an activity, they spring up, and
Yes,
to integrate, you're the best teacher for them, and social studies is the best subject for them.
yes,
Thank you,
at that
ma'am.
time.
Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am. So art teaches students to visualize. Often students who struggle with writing thrive in art class. Simple. I think these 3 lines have given us the gist of the complete presentation today. Art teaches students to visualize, because when you say, look at this, let us do this, If you're telling them, you're teaching them about rotation and revolution, a simple concept. If you brought a globe or you're using a 3D effect on through the video through a smart board, tell children to get up. One should be stable and the other one should do the movement of rotation and revolution. And there could be so many students, and then you can tell them to form a song. You can tell them to script a song, and there could be some students who could give lyrics to it and tuning to it. So lots of things can happen. You can integrate many art forms together. So
Yes. Ma'am, there are two other messages that they want me to read out. With your permission, can I?
please, please.
Yes, yes. So this is Hemlata ma'am. She says we have done role plays. It develops all the senses through keen observation and spontaneous ideas, perhaps from the students. Then the next one is Miss Lata. She says I started teaching Northern Mountains by keeping some native music on, some naive music on. Okay, and ask them to just listen to the music and raw scenery of mountains with snow. It was actually great fun. Children actually forgot that they are in class.
Shrikant, it is sounding great. So how much children would have enjoyed it?
Yes, yes. And the last one is from Ms. Radhika. She says, I use board games to take recapitulation of the concepts. Also, recently, I've taken the activity of making a craft out of waste material on the 3 organs of the government. Students enjoyed it to the core, and simultaneously they learned the concept. There you go, ma.
So I think everybody needs an applaud here, including the students who have performed it. Wonderful. Okay, now we come to the first. Now we're going to take history first. I'm giving you ways through which quickly I'll run through this, how we can integrate arts into history. The first is flags. You can do activity through flags. Now what you can do is, there are a number of things that you can do. I can give you a suggestion, 1 or 2. You can make the children to search for flags of certain countries, and then you can tell them to find the history, whether this flag which is there using presently is the one which they were using, let's say, a century back. If there is a change, what were the reasons for the change? Who are the people who created the flags? Why are flags of similar colors and things like that? So a lot of comparison can happen. They could make a scrapbook of flag. You could have on one side, you could have flags, on the other side you could have countries, and you could have them do joining, join the country with the flag. Now, painting is something which was never out of fashion, and it says that it was never only because of the home decor. Children who can actually, do major historical movements. I have seen certain schools where they have painted entire wall, where they have made the pyramids, and they have created the entire, you can say, the Egyptian civilization. And another wall, it was the Mesopotamia. Another wall, it was the Harappan and Mohenjo-daro. So that complete 4 walls was converted into the various earliest civilizations. And then the labeling was done. So if permissions can be taken, if you can find corners, children will reciprocate. Historical costumes, another fun way to teach children about history. You can, again, when you're teaching them about maybe an African tribe, or you're teaching them about natives of another country, and then you can tell them, okay, offline children will love these kind of things. Give them a day before that tomorrow we're going to have this costume show, we're going to have a fashion show. So based on this theme, you have to create costumes, and give them nothing. Say you have to create it out of newspaper. And then see, out of nothing, so much could be created. Now, comics is something which children have forgotten. Children don't know, they don't read what are comics. But when they will go back to history, they'll find that through comics, the satire of history was very well explained. So you can take them into those characters, you can take them into those war situations, maybe the Nazi period, and you can, through the comics, children who are very good in this fine paintings, fine sketching, can use comics. Folk art is something, again, which you can discover. Suppose you have some natural resource in your region, you can tell children to collect it. Suppose like last year, my students created this, what is it, vertical garden in the school. They collected bottles and they created this vertical garden. And they wrote the spelling of the school with that vertical garden. So that resource, plastic bottle was available, sometimes straw, sometimes stones. Another school which I recently had gone for the conduction of the practical exams as an observer, wonderful irregular pieces of stones were picked up by the art group of students, and they were painted into forms of birds, animals, sea creatures. And the approach to the school, on the left side and the right side, they had fixed those uh, stones. Hardly any resources required, but these kind of things are very, very interesting. Again, more ideas, visual timelines. In my next slide, I'll explain what it is, but here just a brief about it, that students, when they learn about timelines, they're just learning the date, the event and the date, the event and the date. And at times, in fact, most of the time they forget it, or they find it boring, or they just simply want to skip it. So how can timelines be made visual? Next slide, I'll explain to you. Play games. Play games. When we teach children, suppose children are on the ground and it's your class where you want them to do some movement, they are bored, they are exhausted, something like that. You can tell them to find out unusual games of the world. I'll tell you two unusual games of the world. One is underwater hockey. It is played in the Scandinavian countries, underwater hockey. And there is one game which is chess with boxing. So participants are, the two players are sitting face to face. They play the moves of the chess. And when one loses that, then he gets a punch. So then they do the boxing and then they come back to that. So there is mental activity and there is physical activity. So you can play a number of games which they know, which they do not know, and ask them from which country it is, and they can write important points about it. Just tell them to do and they will do it. Allow dramatization. Like we said, children love role play. They are put in a situation. It could be the Quit India movement. It could be the time when Ashoka, when he quit in the Kalinga War and he took up Buddhism. So these kind of things, we can create dramatization. We can create songs. We can paint, sculpt something. Yes, you can create landscape. You can do some historical person. One very interesting image I saw recently on the internet. Children have created an image of Aristotle, and that is a sculpture made out of chocolate. So once they created that image, while they were creating, they were licking, enjoying, splashing, and after they finished, they dismantled it and ate it also after taking some pictures. So culinary art along with sculpture cannot be tried very easily, because you need to have make sure that children are clean and proper. Film recreations, you have them recreate a historical event. You can do it in the online class. You can tell them that their brother or sister or mother or father, while they are speaking about that event, or wearing clothes or dress, or unity in diversity, or representing a state, it could be videographed and it could be clubbed together, and that becomes a presentation of the class. This is very nice, right? History. When we read about different situations, characters, why can't we place ourselves in that situation? And I am the king of that place, or I am the minister, or when Chandragupta Maurya was there, I was Chanakya. So you place yourself as an important character, and you can think about it, that if you were Chanakya, what you could have done. Could you have rewritten history? Could you have done something different? Could you have, done something further in history? So a lot of things can happen when you can write, or I should say rewrite history. These are the visual timelines. So if you look carefully here, this is a very simple one, which has been given with certain years, and those years have been given with an icon. Now, when the children have to learn the year, it is easier to learn the icon. When they learn the icon, then it's the visual what they learn along with that date is better off. I'll give you one simple example, very simple example. You want your children to follow a routine. Now, when they don't have the school, or when they have the school, you want them to follow a routine. Now, each time you have to remind them, now get up, now brush, now do this. You have your online class at 8:30. You need to drink milk. You need to eat your breakfast. You need to bathe, this, that. So you just prepare there a timeline. In that, put images. The first one is toothpaste. Second one is bathing in the bathroom. The third one is eating breakfast. Fourth one is preparing your laptop ready for the online class. Likewise. So when the children will see, and below that you write the timing. So when the child will see that, the child, you don't have to speak, you don't have to remind, child will see and understand. Another example of visual timeline here for history is that of a certain time, of a certain era. Here it has been taken of the time when we had Mahavira and Buddha, and we started with the first civilization and how we developed. With a year, if we are having an icon, if we are having a visual representation there, it is easier to remember, because what will fix in the mind will not be first the year, it will be the image. And through the image, the child will go to the timeline. So when the child will remember these images, actually timeline means a sequence. So the child has to remember the sequence. It is easier to remember through pictures, images than through dates. How can we integrate geography? We can teach them through map art. Now, map making is a very professional task, yes, of course, but children can learn to create maps in the class, at home, of their room, of the classroom, of their own house. And through that process, they can label, they can put the signs and the symbols, and then you can tell them to compare it with the other cultures, other food habits, and how, map of other countries. So you can play a kind of game. The second one is actually a game. What you can do is you can choose a country, or you can tell the children maybe a region of a world, and tell the children to draw the outline of that. And you pick up a small treasure box and you hide it somewhere in that part of the country. It could be any north, south, east, west, northeast, southeast, anywhere. And then tell them now they have to, once they open it and they find that hidden treasure, they have to find out what kind of landform, climate, soil is there in that part. For example, if it is India, you will find that landform is somewhere in Gujarat, Rajasthan. So what kind of landform will be there? Then the question is why it is like that. Then they will come up with it. Aravalli Mountains are there. Why is it then we go lower? Why is it that we have the igneous rocks? Then it will be that we have the Deccan Plateau. It has all been because of the volcanoes. So lots of things can be played through the treasure hunt in a sequence. Now, chlorophyll painting, the topic, the heading seems very interesting. Chlorophyll painting means when it could be integration with science and social science. When you are teaching them about the chlorophyll pigment, which helps to create the photosynthesis, after you have taught them, tell them to trace out a tree, leaves, and then tell them to bring different kinds of leaves, crumble it very well, and there will be certain green juices which will be coming out, and then use them to do that painting through the crumbled leaves. These leaves will give different hues of color, colors also. So this is again art integration with social science and science. So likewise, you can use flowers. You can use hibiscus flowers. You can use flowers which have got strong colors. So you can create scenes. You can create a lot of drawings, paintings out of these natural things which are available. Mind maps is another thing. Here, this one on the left side with the children have created their own, no, the right one is their own. The left one talks about the Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So they have roughly sketched it out, and then they have labeled what all is there, what is the location, what is the area, what is the origin, what kind of people live there, what is the flora and fauna. So in one image, they study the complete island. You can start from a very simple thing as the individual speaks about his life. So here he has written the first alphabet of his name, and then he says, this is what I do, and then he makes a small icon, and then he has labeled it. So his life, you can say his biodata is there in that image. So these things can be done through geography. So there are some projects which children have done, art integration in geography. The left one is a necklace which is butterfly's life, the life of a butterfly, which has been created through a necklace. So it's a wonderful thing. It can be hung, it can be used as a toran in the student's house. Lots of things can be done with that, and you can use different topics. The next one is the various fruits, kiwi fruit, orange, apple. So they have been used to create the solar system. And so you can pick up what kind of color of that planet is there. And based on that, they have picked up the fruit. Third one is very simple. It's a paper plate which shows the water cycle. So nothing expensive, nothing. These resources, you don't need to go to the market to buy. These things are all available at home right now in the lockdown. You tell them to pick it up and you tell them to create it. This is in civics. The first one talks about the 4 branches of the government. The second one is a sculpture which talks about democracy. And the third one is about, the executive, the legislature. So these are expressions. What children think, in the times when we are facing lack of vaccine, we are facing shortage of oxygen. In this time, what do they think about the government? What do they think the government is doing? Let them express through drawing. They don't need to write an essay for it. Just let them express it through that. This is again art integration through civics. Any questions here? Anybody would like to ask question, or anybody would like to add to what I am doing?
Yes, ma'am. Both on Facebook and also here on Zoom, we are getting a lot of ideas from the teachers. Really tough to keep pace, but I shall just share some thoughts from the teachers. So some teachers say we can use clay for making the landforms, and Surf Excel for the rivers, that blue color there. Yeah, ingenious, yes. Then there was one idea which it said from Miss Fiona. She says, have made children prepare fruit trifle to teach soil profile, different layers of the soil. Yeah, and just a thought right now, ma'am. Ma'am, please tell me a few art integration activities for 9th and 10th. Would you like to take that?
Yeah, 9th and 10th. I'll speak one for 10th. We have economics in 10th. And the first chapter that they have there is this development. Now, when we start with that topic, it speaks about number of things like what is development? It's a progress. Development for one may not be development for other. Development may be conflicting. Things like that. So to make them understand is pretty monotonous, boring. So what I did was, even in the online class, you can tell the children to pick up newspaper, and whatever they think according to them is an idea of development, whether it is a IPL match where the particular team won, or whether it is a discovery or a new medicine, which is vaccine, which is coming from Russia, or it could be anything which according to them is idea of development. They will cut it out and they will paste it on a page. And once they paste it, each one pastes theirs. And the next day when you have your online class, you can tell them, just read the headline. What according to you is development? And when they read, you'll find 90% it's agreeable that yes, we can call this as development. Yes, this is happening. We are exporting, but we are having shortage. Is that development? That is conflicting. The second thing which we can do is, there has been a new discovery, but it is in a neighboring country and it's at the border. So can we say it is our country's development? So certain kinds it can be conflicting. This kind of activity can explain the complete chapter to the students in economics. Did you ask for civics, Shrikant? Or did you ask for only 9th and 10th?
It was for 9th and 10th in general. So ma'am didn't actually tell us which subject.
Yeah,
However,
this was economics.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now here I have something for the educators to do. So I think everybody should be on their toes, and this is what you are supposed to do. Children live in a world where fantasy and reality are undifferentiated, and in their world, the animals talk and human beings whiz past, flying on the brooms. So this is what the children imagine. This is what the children think is reality. And you have a task where the task is now. You have to do the task now and give me answers. Where in this thought process of children, you have to explain the story of Lord Buddha to the students. So what forms or what medium of art integration will you use so that you can integrate those mediums with the idea of introduction of the story of Lord Buddha? This is the
Shall
first task.
we?
The second
Yeah.
one will come.
Okay. Shall we open this to teachers? Whoever wants to
Please,
answer.
please.
Yeah. So teachers, again, if you could show up your hands, and if anyone would like to share your thoughts, or if there is anyone who would like to just type it, we'd read them out. So we have Surbhi ma'am who says role play can be done. There is Shilpi ma'am who says stories of the Buddha can be narrated. Role plays, comic strips, all of them are quite applicable in real life. Picture talk, perhaps that should do with puppetry. Yeah, and comic strip making, we can also start role
At the
playing.
time of Lord Buddha, we had the Jatka tales where animals used to talk. So
Yes.
somewhere can we incorporate that into the story of Lord Buddha, where animals could talk? What could the teachers make the children do? Could they make the children as animals who are talking about Lord Buddha, about his enlightenment, about his simplicity, about his emancipation, about the reflections that he's going through? Because we can have animals to talk, and anything more.
Yeah. So mask making, creation of a storybook. Okay. We have Shilpi ma'am who wants to answer. Shilpi ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, we can integrate with the real life, stories of the successful people that through hard work, or I mean, they are like Mr. APJ Kalam and all that, and with the teachings of Buddha, what virtues they are saying, and I mean, it really leads to a successful life if we follow those ethics and values, those teachings. Although they could be difficult, but at the end, children will be, or people will be successful, and they don't have to face any lowdown in life if they will, I mean, we can integrate through that as well.
Yes, you're absolutely right, ma'am. I use Lord Buddha here. I'm still waiting for that to come from somebody. Lord Buddha at the time when we are in the pandemic. Lord Buddha is the epitome of peace, calmness. Now, can we associate that through some activity, something? Anybody?
Looking for such answers. Meditation, someone says.
Yes, meditation is an art.
Yeah, showing them life in a monastery, mindfulness activities, coming to that. Meditation and yoga, clay modeling of the Buddha.
Wonderful.
Breathing
Can we have some
exercises.
recitation of shlokas, some recital of my Lord Buddha. So there are so many
Peaceful
things.
music.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Lot
Thank you.
of answers. Lot of answers.
Okay. I'm coming to the second activity now. So I want the teacher's attention, the second one. Here I'm giving you, the first one was a question. Here I'm giving you the material. Some related examples here are for you. Storytelling, theater, puppetry, drawing, music, poetry. This is the medium which I am giving it to you. Now you have to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 or more of them and how can you use it for a topic for civics or geography, where you can explain through any of these or more art forms. I am giving the resources to you. Now you tell me what topic and how will you teach using these resources.
So again, any teacher who would like to answer? Okay, I think we've got 2 hands up for here. I think Garima ma'am, Shilpi ma'am, and Garima ma'am. Okay, I'll give this opportunity to Garima ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Hey, namaskar, sir.
Yes.
I'm Garima Srivastava from SVIS.
Garima ma'am, please, your voice is very feeble. You're going to do a big task now. Come on.
Am I audible now? Actually,
Yeah,
my voice
please.
is a little hoarse. Sorry for that. Okay. The topic I would choose would be, chapter would be democracy. In that, we can incorporate everything like the theater. The children can be asked to have a, election process, small election process. And they can, canvas and they can, elect and do the entire process through theater. Then storytelling will also be involved in that. And then we can include drawing in, writing down the manifesto or presenting their party signs or, canvassing. They can include music, poetry that can be included, in creating when they are telling about their party or something like that. So all of these facts will be included in that chapter.
Great, great idea. Great contribution from your side. Anybody for geography?
I think Shilpi ma'am is showing up a hand. So I'm just unmuting Shilpi ma'am. Shilpi ma'am, please.
Oh, though it was not for geography, although, but in history, there's a song like "Aao bachcho tumhe dikhaye." We usually use it in the class while teaching them about India. It covers all the states and all the, what do I call, all the people who have made difference in Indian struggle with them. So I find that song very useful, and children actually enjoy it listening it in the class, because it just give them a gist. In a gist, they know almost everything.
Right. So they are grasping fast if you are doing integration. That is what you are saying, ma'am? Okay. Anybody else would like to add?
Ma'am, one thing, I'll just give this, just read this out before I open it up. So this is from Ms. Payal. She says, I was teaching responsibilities of
Shrikant, please be a little loud.
Yes. It is from Ms. Payal on Facebook. She says, I was teaching responsibilities of a good citizen, where I began with a story and asked questions later. They then made a story on their own, where they depicted responsibility of a good citizen and also a poster making on these responsibilities. So lot of thoughts, but I'll just open. Shweta ma'am wants to speak. So Shweta ma'am, please, if you could. Shweta ma'am? Yeah.
Am I audible?
You are, ma'am.
Hello, Shweta ma'am.
Namaskar, everyone. I'm from Shri VIS School, Delhi.
Yes,
I just wanted to share that in Standard 6, I did a chapter on solar system. And I was teaching them rotation and revolution. There's a very nice song on YouTube on rotation and revolution. And my kids really loved that song. And I did not had to teach them the differences. It was learned by them through song only. More than that, I also did one activity with a wool in which, they had used the wool on an A4 size sheet to show the grids. And then we took a ball in the class, and using the marker, they made a, equator, and then they marked the poles, and then they made Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. So it was a well integrated course where I think the kids really enjoyed it, and they were able to understand the latitudes and longitudes very well in the class. And that song just added up more it really involved the students of the class, and everybody enjoyed it, and they even danced on that song.
That
It
was in Standard 6, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, Standard 6.
Let me share with you a couple of years back when I was teaching them about, now since you have come up with this topic of geography, I was teaching them about, the globe and the map. And I gave them a very, very interesting activity which they used to love it. I used to give them Xerox copies of the map, and that had the prime meridian, the 12 hours difference from in the time zones. And I used to give them, I used to make chits, and I used to write the name of the country on that chit. And I used to tell them, keep an atlas with you. So they're using the atlas also, they're using time factor also, they're doing group activity also. They had to come, pick up the chit, and they had to open it, and there was a name of a country. Now they had to run, and they have to come to their map, which talks about the time zones. And then they had to locate on the atlas where that particular country is, and then they had to find to the latitude, longitude, the time difference from that country with India, and whether it is ahead or behind, and how much. And so, this was my favorite activity with students. Whenever they used to get bored, ma'am, let us do the time zone activity. So in one activity, they had number of things to learn: movement, learning about the time zones, learning about the various geographical countries where they are located, opening the atlas, which otherwise they don't, and finding out new countries. Where is the location of this country? One group used to finish the activity, other was still searching. Ma'am, where is this country? Is there such a name of a country? Never heard. So these kind of things you can really involve. This is an image of children. You can see that these young artists, give them a task, and they will paint the entire corridor, the entire wall, give them the theme, give them the material, and they will do it. Also, we can use physical fitness as integration. So take the children to the ground, they learn about the world. Like I told you, some sports about another country, unusual sports, and what we know, what sports and folk dances, what they can teach the children. Children can learn how to get together, how to resolve conflicts. And you can always compare about other countries, how they are managing in this pandemic period, how we are managing. And through this, we can also study about the location, about the climate, about when that sport was invented, who invented, is it still played, is it still in practice. Now, cricket is where it was invented. I think it's a chapter in Standard 9. So these kind of things, if you have a chapter of sports in social studies, so definitely physical fitness is very important. So you can use health and physical fitness also as integration. So here you can include again dance, song, music, also with physical fitness. This is again through dance and music. We know that dance can express, they can express a lot of ideas, thoughts through dance, various forms of dance, and that would be really exciting. And don't forget to display the arts, because when you will not be able to display, or you keep it away, or you forget about it, it will get spoiled. And the more you appreciate the children, the more they will like to do it the next time. I've seen some staff rooms where the children's projects are thrown at the ground, and one fine day it's picked up and kept away, or maybe thrown away. So children don't like that kind of stuff. So what you can do is host an art walk. You can digitalize it and write a blog, take photos and upload them in your school website or newsletter, create a slideshow, host a performance, invite other classes to visit your display. Remember, this can happen online as well. And have students act like tour guides at an art gallery, so children can represent what work they have done, they can describe it, and they can even explain the material that they have used and things like that. And they can create a live museum display. So this is very important. Please preserve the art, that the best art can be even decorated. You can use it as teaching aids. Children would love if you use their art pieces as teaching aids. They'll feel proud, and next time you tell them to do, they'll be like a competition. I should do better so that my teacher uses my artwork as a teaching aid. Okay, there are some lesson plan ideas here where there is integration. Till now we were speaking of integration of arts with social studies, but we cannot isolate other subjects. We have dance and maths. Any one liner how we can integrate dance with maths? We've seen very small children, teachers teaching them number song, things like that. So that is also a like of integration. We can have media arts and maths, maths with English and language. We can have theater with science. We can have visual art with social science. So many things can be integrated. So anybody wants to speak on any of these integrations here, which incorporates other subjects? I think we have very less time, so if somebody could get
Yeah.
back to me.
I'm just looking for. Yes, I think Shweta ma'am again wants to answer. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, in class 7, there was a topic on different layers of the earth. So the students of 7th were aware about, different density of liquids. So what I did, I asked them to create different layers in the glass of water, depending on the density of the liquid. And they did a beautiful activity. It was an online class. And, they used different densities of different liquids and they created different layers inside the glass. So in that way, I could integrate science and social science, and this topic went very well, and the kids really enjoyed it.
Very good, ma'am. You can teach children how to create, these paints at home, natural colors. There are so many things that we can use at home. Dried flowers, we can use some spices, we can use charcoal, we can use chalk, and they can create paintings. When we teach them about the cave paintings, how man first started using the caves to draw out whatever they did, hunting, gathering. So you can tell them to use it. Now, of course, they don't have a cave, but at least they can use a natural form of substance through which the material which they can create. Any other idea here?
Yes,
Theatre?
ma'am. They were saying sand art can be used. Sand art is now pretty popular.
Yes, right.
Sand art, then foot tapping dance,
Hmm.
carrot coffee powder, beetroot. Okay, what are these? Is carrot
Yes,
coffee
yes,
powder
these
and
are the things.
beetroot for the natural colors?
Yes, you can dry them out, or even the wet ones, you can take the brush, squeeze the
Yeah.
juice, and you can do. I have seen children doing wonderful stuff. Remember, we spoke about the chlorophyll painting. So that is
Yes.
something like this: natural substance, natural flowers, natural leaves. You can create a complete plant or a tree where for roots you can use roots, for the stem you can use stem, for the flowers you can use flowers, for the leaves you can use natural leaves. So the complete painting, and you can frame it and keep it in your home. So it's a wonderful experience.
Exactly.
So I'm sure teachers are having lots and lots of ideas.
Lots of ideas. You
Lots
should
of
see it
ideas,
on
yeah,
Facebook.
because
Yes.
now mind works. Then and sometimes you feel, oh yes, I have done something like this. I didn't know it was art integration.
You just triggered it.
Yeah. So this is again elementary arts history. How again we can integrate, how we can give them a topic and how they can take another subject, maths with history, or they can take visual arts with science. So here I'm talking about integration of other subjects. Sometimes you can integrate more than 2 to 3 to 4 subjects. So I think I come to the end of my little 1 hour which I got, and I'm very happy. Shrikant, why I'm very happy? Because I didn't have to use the mask for 1 hour to speak.
Yes.
Anyhow, if I had so many people at the audience, I would have to use a mask even if one person was there. So I'm really happy that I didn't I interacted with so many wonderful participants, but I didn't have to use a mask. So
Hundreds of participants are here, and this is, I think, the safest way to, interact with human beings all across the world,
right,
isn't it,
right.
ma'am? Yes. So thank you so much for a wonderful session, ma'am. It was such an interactive session,
Yeah,
and
these are
as I said, yes.
some of the sources from which I have got the content, and this is the online visualparadigm.com knowledge. Then it is Edutopia, opencollege.edu.au, 50 ways to integrate art into my lesson. And definitely, I also took up NCRT. I also looked into what the CBSE has given us. So lots of sources were there. I have picked up some. Yes, you were saying something, Shrikant?
Yes, there is one question, ma'am. So this is from Ms. Rita Jha. She says there is a lot to do, but how can an art teacher work together with all subjects? I'm an art teacher. So how to do it the other way around?
Other way
Your
around in the
thoughts?
sense?
As in being an art teacher, so we are talking about being a science teacher, how to integrate art. But as an art teacher, what does she do?
Oh, fantastic. Now, the art teacher is skeptical that if all the artwork will be done by the social science, maths, this teacher, then what is my role? Because what happens is, how much soever a subject teacher will get ideas, initially he or she will need the help of the art teacher. Because everybody is not an artist. In fact, very few of us may be an artist, and we will need their help. I'll tell you one simple thing. Standard 6, I was teaching them about the term that is called numismatics, that is the study of coins. And I told the children that you have to create your own coin. So I gave them a small piece of clay, wet clay, and I said, now you have to create a coin. They said, what should we do? What material should we use? So I said, use your head. So what they did, they ran to the art teacher, and the art teacher helped them that you circle it, flatten it, and then you either take a pencil or you take a toothpick. And then I said, you have to, like how early times we had the king, or we had some ancient language which we never understood, or maybe an instrument, like when Samudragupta was there, he used to play the veena. So we had coins with Samudragupta playing the veena. So you have to create something. So the art teacher helped them there. So I think art teacher, the physical education teacher, that integration has to happen. It has to happen together. It cannot happen in isolation, that children be sent to the art teacher and art teacher will tell them to do something. No. First, the subject teacher has to discuss with the art teacher will give them ideas. And then it will be a collaboration. It will be a teamwork. And once the subject teacher is comfortable that yes, it can be done, children will be more confident. So I think art teacher can, the syllabi of the art teacher can also be related to the curriculum of the school. As per the NEP, it is not that the art teacher is teaching them how to make a flower vase, plus a dog in the park. No. Now the art teacher can integrate what is there in the textbook, and that can be made to be created in the art class. So this way, there will be a collaboration with the subject and the art teacher. So these things can happen. I had once, if Shrikant, can you give me a minute?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
I had once, when I was teaching them about the Harappan civilization, I told them to bring a handkerchief. And on that handkerchief, whatever they had studied about, read about in the book, about the granary, about the great bath, about the citadel, about the perpendicular roads, I said, now all what you have read, now imagine it and recreate it on that piece of handkerchief. So each one did that. So what happened? That piece of handkerchief became an art piece. So when we have to go and we need to, suppose we are doing an exhibition, we are doing an art gallery. So who will come handy now? The art teacher.
The art teacher.
Columns in my school were painted by the teacher, but the students. But ultimately, the refining, the things I have
nuances,
to do art teacher. So the eyes are not very well drawn. The nose is not very well shaped. So kindly. So herein we have to. It's not in isolation. It has to be a collective effort. It has to be the activity teachers, and it has to be the subject teachers. So when they prepare, when you sit at the beginning of the year and you prepare your pedagogical plan, at that time when you write your activities, then you will integrate, and then you will see you want dance teacher, you want art teacher, you have to discuss it out with them that this is the topic. So this is the topic. The topic is about this Gond tribes. Now what can we do? Tell me, then he will say, okay, now what we can do, they do a particular Santal tribes, they do this particular kind of dance. So what I will do is, instead of teaching the hip hop this month, I will take the Santal dance in my curriculum. So they have learned about the Santals and they have learned the Santal dance. They have learned, they picked up the music, the instruments. So if there's an instrument school class also, so they can learn to play those kind of native kind of flutes. So this is integration, What we need is working on it, and we have to go on thinking what more we can do. There's no end to it. There's no limit to it. we have to go on and on and on. Sharing ideas, I think.
Essentially, social sciences or social studies is an ocean by itself, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and we are very fortunate that we're discussing about social studies. I think this will be one of the best because there are so many ideas. We have history, we have civics, we have geography, we have economics, we have political science. So we have so much of varied things to be done.
Yes, and a lot of synergy there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
With other
We
subjects.
have to
Yes,
ignite the children through all these art activities.
exactly. And thanks for that, man. The word ignition, ignite. You done that perfectly this evening. You were able to
My
build up all those
pleasure, my
triggers.
pleasure. I hope I have been able to just do justice in this 1 hour because even a day is less for this. But when we try to incorporate, and there are few speakers, mainly I am speaking because there's a time limit. But at least I was able to cover up the various aspects of art. I'm happy that what all comes under art. So now they can be a food for thought for teachers.
Exactly. And one thing from my side, I'd like to sincerely thank all the teachers and also apologize to certain teachers who weren't getting the chance to speak. Ma'am, there were so many teachers who wanted to speak. But then, courtesy the paucity of time, we weren't able to give you the chance. But I'd request all the teachers to, jot in your thoughts, share your ideas on the chat on Facebook. And I'm sure, that's going to be a repository of collective knowledge that any person later on can reference to. So that was a wonderful session, ma'am. And thank you so much for that session.
Thank you, Shrikant, and thank you, Collins Learning. I loved today's program. I loved the webinar because it was so close to my heart. And as I was speaking, I was recollecting so many of the integrated activities which I have done in the past when there was nothing like NEP 2020. But I have done it. So
Excellent.
I think if at that time I could do when I did not have any resources, any ideas, now so we are so many of us, we can all get connected, we can have a small group and we can share. And thanks to Collins to have come up with this series. That's really wonderful.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, sharing your ideas. Thanks to all the teachers. And one request to all of you is please be safe. Please, use the mask these days, even at home. And also request all of you as social teachers to also spread this message. Thank you so much. Stay safe and wish you all a great week ahead in the given circumstances. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Shrikant. Thank you, Rageshri ma'am. Thank you, one and all. And I hope I have been able to contribute in one small way for social studies because that being my pet subject.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the
Thank you so
opportunity.
much. Thank
Stay
you so
safe,
much.
stay happy, and take care of your family. Very important.
Yes. All of you,
Okay.
please stay safe. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Bye. Take care.